Brian, can I see that paper for a sec? Huh. That's odd. I thought that would be big news.
You thought what would be big news?
Well, there seems to be an absence of a certain ornithological piece. A headline regarding mass awareness of a certain avian variety.
What are you talking about?
Oh, have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard.
Heard what?
Brian, don't! Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, a well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, a well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, a well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, a Brian, don't you know about the bird? Brian, can I see that paper?
No, not again, not again.
That's right. The bird is free, everybody.
All right. Hey, sorry that we're late. We weren't, but we are because we didn't go live. We were talking to. I mean, we were recording, but we weren't talking to you.
We were having a nice conversation with ourselves.
We did it again. We're really not great at this. But anyway, welcome back to another episode of Semper Phallus, where we the people are always dicked. Tonight we're going to talk about the Twitter takeover, the future of Twitter, Elon Musk, and we might get into a little bit about Elon. We're going to talk about the Nazi battalions, Nazi militias, and all the Nazi connections in Ukraine.
Jawohl.
And we're gonna cover it in more detail because I'm just tired of mainstream media saying that there are not Nazis there and that this is a right-wing talking point, even though those same media sources reported on it only a few years ago. And then we're going to get into Rosemont, Seneca, having had their Wikipedia page just scrubbed from the internet, and we're going to get into more information about Rosemont, Seneca, so that we can discover why they might want to remove it right now. So anyway, getting into Twitter and Elon Musk, Doc, why don't you start a little bit? I'm going to try to pull some stuff up. Anyways, guys, what we talked about was, we started talking about the fact that, when we switched to the camera, we haven't set up audio on a new shot where we had just Doc in the shot. So
just brain dead over here.
Yeah, every time I try something new, I screw it all up.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, one of these days we'll get it. One of these days we will get it. But anyway, so Elon Musk buys Twitter for $44 billion. The transaction is still finalizing. He doesn't officially own it yet. The Twitter employees are in full panic mode, at least the crazy ones that don't know whether or not they're a boy or girl.
Do you think they're downstairs just pulling like circuit cards out, just ripping wires out?
They probably have that same psychological disorder that Taylor Lorenz has, where they pull out their own hair and have like a full-on panic attack
whenever the camera's there.
But anyway, so I'm not sure I 100% believe that it's actually going to be a free speech platform. That's what he says online. That's what he says publicly. He does say that he believes that free speech and civil, public discourse is the foundation of a healthy democracy. I think that's essentially what he said. So
I don't think many people disagree, but he also believes that Twitter is the public forum now. It's the town hall.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that
is he going to live up to that?
Yeah. But
so what do we know about Elon Musk?
So anyway, so Elon Musk is he's the richest African American we know.
South African American.
Yeah, but still African.
Yes, still on the continent.
He comes from money, but they don't talk about that very much. His family owned an emerald mine in South Africa. So while he has built these companies and made them much better than they ever were, he's not at the beginning, he was not self-made. This is not someone who started from the bottom.
The rags to riches, right?
Yeah. But I mean, still a respectable thing. That the empire that he's built is, you can't.
Well, yeah, he started with
shake a stick at it.
What was it, Tesla? But a lot of the money
he didn't start Tesla. He didn't start SpaceX. He didn't start PayPal. He didn't start any of them. But he's taken them leaps and bounds above what they could ever achieve.
Then we also have OpenAI and Neuralink and the Boring Company, which isn't that. It is boring because they're boring holes.
They're boring underground.
For the loop travel that they're going to travel like 160 miles an hour and get to one end of the city and another in 2 minutes.
Now he's building that under Vegas, am I right?
Yeah,
that's where he started.
He's got one that's being built. I think it's from L.A. to Santa Monica. That's done, and they're doing testing right now. But he's got one, the big one in Las Vegas that they just broke ground in.
You're good. You're good. We're just dropping on and off.
So he's worth like $280 billion today. I mean, I think we're just going to have to wait to see what happens, especially as they close this deal. You know, who's going to be left? Are we going to have holdovers that just try to sabotage things as they work through this issue?
So I don't think, and guys, I'm sorry if we're dropping it in and out, but that is Comcast, so gotta love it. I'm paying for that crazy gigabit stuff, and it's giga shit.
Not a sponsor.
So, not a sponsor, guaranteed. I mean, if they wanted to give me even higher speed internet that doesn't perform well, I'd take it. But all we're saying is, at this point, you know, it's hard to say, like, to prevent sabotage, they've locked down the code, they've locked down the algorithms and stuff to prevent the crazy Twitter employees that can't identify themselves as anything other than like a panda or like a desk,
a blue-haired cat.
Yeah, or, you know, like a tripod. Well, good for you if you identify as a tripod.
Probably more productive as a tripod than a Twitter employee.
But anyway, so they have the code on lockdown. So now with Elon Musk, I just wonder, you know, if you look at him from not that long ago, he wasn't necessarily like a free speech advocate, but he has always trolled people online, which is always funny. But if you look at what he has, so he built a payment transaction company. He had
PayPal.
Yeah, so PayPal, right? And then he gets over and he starts this e-vehicle company in Tesla, or takes it to where it is. So he's got payment transactions. He's got e-cars that, you know, use internet and interact. He has Starlink, which produces internet and interacts, and it's, you know, global.
Hawaiian Airlines just bought into it today.
A lot of, well, I don't want to talk about my other job, but yeah, Starlink's getting installed on lots of planes, and they're doing R&D on different models that they're putting it in, and it's a great system. So you're going to see it everywhere, and because of how versatile it is, it's probably going to take over the aviation space, as well as, you know, for people that live out in the boonies that can only access internet through, you know, either dial-up or satellite. I don't even think dial-up's an option really anymore, so they're going to go to Starlink if they can afford it.
But the preliminary Starlink looks really good.
Oh, yeah.
Like the areas that have been out there testing it, it's been fantastic.
It's by far... I mean, you have to look at it like this. Elon Musk probably has more satellites of his own and also of affiliation that they bounce off of than anyone else. So he's going to have a better signal, or Starlink's going to have a better signal than like GoGo Wireless or Viasat Wireless or HughesNet and stuff like that. Or DirecTV, which literally, same thing. Dish Network, whatever. So you're gonna see that and everything. This is gonna take off. So, you know, because in aviation especially, and probably in maritime use, Starlink's gonna be massive. But he has internet control, right? He's got control of the internet. He's got control of the EV vehicles that use the internet. He's got control of
space.
He's got control of space. As you know, essentially, he's the most productive and successful space entrepreneur. It's him against Bezos with his penis rocket
and Virgin Galactic
with that guy's awesome. I don't remember his name, but he just seems wild.
I'd hang out with him.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be a good time. So he's got space, internet, cars.
Richard Branson.
Yes, Richard Branson. He's got underground with the Boring Company. He's got bricks to build buildings with the Boring Bricks. That is a byproduct from the Boring Company. Now he's going to have the social media aspect, and then he wants to do Neuralink. So, like, if you tie all this stuff together, like, imagine... first of all, I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to get the Neuralink. But imagine if you had it. You could get in your car. You could tell your car to drive without saying a word. Your car would drive, and your car would connect to the internet and talk to you and talk to your Neuralink. You'd be like a drone. You're a living drone.
We would become the Borg.
Yeah.
From Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, and like
resistance is futile.
Through your connection to the Starlink, to your Neuralink, to your Tesla, you could speak to people on Twitter.
Through the hive mind. My God.
Which is something he's actually talked about.
Oh, Jesus.
Essentially for productivity. So
he is everything Cobra Commander wished he could have been.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, hold on. I want to see who's still on. Hey, if you guys are on here, type a 1 or something real quick. I want to know. And also
Share the crap out of this thing.
yeah. And if you can hear us, type yes.
Or emoji a middle finger, whatever.
Yeah.
Just let us know you're there.
But I think that's his. I mean, that's his. It's mostly speculation when it comes to.
Do you think he's altruistic? I don't think anybody's truly altruistic anymore.
No, I mean, look at what he's built and how it has benefited him most.
Oh, yeah.
It's really hard to say that he would be altruistic, but it remains to be seen. He might really have the desire for, the maintenance and restoration of the founding principles of this country. And although he was not born here, it seems like he does have a healthy respect or kind of like a passion for what made this country what it is.
I agree. He's a U.S. citizen and a Canadian citizen as
Yeah.
well. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, obviously he picked the right country to stay in because
Fucking Canada.
yeah, I don't know. They would have shut down his accounts or something. I don't know.
Trudeau would have had him thrown in jail.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Nobody speaks out in Canada.
I don't know. Elon would get on his own rocket and I was going to say penis rocket, but that's Bezos.
Really, Semper
All right.
Phallus them.
Thanks, Kevin. I think Brian jumped off of here after we dumped out real early.
Screw the pooch.
Yeah, sorry, Brian. But the next topic that I really want to get into is the Ukrainian militias. So let me pull up right here.
Well, it wasn't last week when we were talking, or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Gonzalo Lira reporting. He was digging into that stuff, and
Yeah, so the Nazi militias that are embedded in Ukraine, at one point these militias were a separate entity. They were uncontrolled. I still don't think they're controlled, but at one point they were completely separate, and they didn't refer to them as a part of the military. Since roughly 2014 to current time, they have kind of absorbed a lot of these. A lot of the leadership is in charge within the Ukrainian armed forces. So it's no longer that you could just say it's not just Nazi militia. The military itself is run by pro-Nazis, Nazi sympathizers, people that, when they look back on history, when they're saluting things in ceremony, the personalities that they idolize were Nazis. They look at Stepan Bandera, who partnered with the Nazis in World War II and killed Jews and killed, I think, ethnic Russians, I think, as well at the time. I'm not really sure, but he definitely killed Jews.
But I know Ukraine has like a deep hatred of Russia for some reasons, what has to do with communism, but because of what happened during the Holodomor.
Oh yeah, that was the food.
But then the Nazis used to call the Ukrainians Untermenschen, the underlings. So it's like nobody liked you, and now you're going to worship the fascist Nazis. Good for you.
Yeah,
great. That's awesome.
Maybe it's like Stockholm syndrome. So it's whatever.
Yeah.
But this
Hit me
article,
harder, Daddy.
this article that we're about to go into, this is on truthout.org, and it references mainstream media sources with links to them. It references New York Times. It references The Telegraph. And this article was written in August of 2014. And the name of the article is "The New York Times Discovers Ukraine's Neo-Nazis at War." And I got to say, it's got a cool-ass image.
Well,
I mean,
it's 2014, which is going to be an important year going throughout this show.
Yeah, you're going to hear that year a few times. And then this picture, I mean, if that doesn't scream The Purge, dude, I don't know what does. It's like, but okay. Now, before I go into this too much, in Ukraine, you have so many different neo-Nazi militias that it's really hard to keep track of. Like, the big ones are the Right Sector, the Azov Battalion, and there's a few others. But the whole reason for bringing them up is during the civil unrest and the geopolitical breakdown and the political collapse of Ukraine around 2014, these paramilitary militia Nazi groups stormed the eastern regions of Ukraine, killing thousands and thousands of ethnic Russians. It didn't matter if they were combatants. They were just culling committing genocide, really. I mean, I think the total was at least 14,000. But they don't say how many were combatants and how many were not. So and we'll never know. But this is let's see. I want to get to the. Let's see. So there's video of some of them. There's video of them carrying a Confederate flag, which is very strange. Which is, it's just. I don't know if this will play. Yeah. So do you see the? Oh, stupid video. All right. So you can kind of see it now that it's blurred, but they've got Confederate flags. Ukrainian flags, and then they've got their different Nazi symbols and
there's hand salute.
Yeah, so they're just dressed to the nines in fascist, socialist, Nazi garb, and it's interesting. But one story that should catch everyone's attention is this section right here. And it starts out, it quotes it as burning insects. So it says the brutality of these neo-Nazis surfaced again on May 2nd, and this is in 2014, when right-wing toughs in Odessa attacked an encampment of ethnic Russian protesters, mind you, not combatants, driving them into a trade union building, which was then set on fire with Molotov cocktails. As the building was engulfed in flames, some people who tried to flee were chased and beaten, while those who were trapped inside heard the Ukrainian nationalist liken them to black and red striped potato beetles called Colorados because those colors are used in pro-Russian ribbons. Mm-hmm. And they chanted, "Burn Colorado, burn," while burning these ethnic Russian Ukrainians alive. As the fire worsened, those dying inside were serenaded and taunted with the singing of the Ukrainian national anthem. And the building was also spray painted with swastika-like symbols, so probably like the Black Sun and things like that, and graffiti reading the Galician SS, so the German SS, in reference to the Ukrainian nationalist armies that fought alongside the German Nazi SS in World War II, killing Russians on the Eastern Front. And this is just one of many stories. This is, this one's more gruesome because for any American, or at least anyone that can remember their history, these are the kinds of war crimes that were committed by the British when we were having our revolution. Mm-hmm. They were locking colonialists and revolutionaries and their families in churches. Usually, I think is what it was. They would just round them up and torch them. Any building, and then they would just burn it to the ground and kill everyone. So this is it's still happening today. It's just we live in comfy, cozy America, so far removed from, our culture is starting to kind of collapse because they're throwing so much on top of each other and then stoking the flames. But that's been happening for so long in other regions of the world where these cultures have been on top of each other, but not mixing for so long. But now it's like a war for resources and they just hate each other. So it's just, it's not a good recipe. Anyways, let's see. I have another one. I really wanted to bring up one more. Let me find it for you real quick. Just give me 1 second. But
who's the battalion in there that has the Ukrainian flag with that quasi swastika black symbol in the middle of their flag?
I believe that's the Azov battalion. The Azov battalion has what looks like a ZZ which is meant to be the SS.
Yeah.
But I don't know what right sector has. It's I think it looks more like the Confederate flag. Or not the Confederate flag, the Ukrainian symbol on the flag. Let's see here. All right, so anyway, so right here I have the archived version of the Telegraph, which was called out in that article. It's archived, of course, because they like to change everything. So this is the original archived one from back in like the month that this was written. So
2014.
2014. This is the Azov Battalion. So the fighters of the Azov Battalion are saying farewell to a fallen comrade. Blah, blah, blah. It's hate, 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 hate. They drank all their haterade. And I want to get to, there's a really important part that just shows you that it's deeply embedded within everything that they are, to just hate Jews and to hate ethnic Russians. All right, I think I've got it. Sorry. Have you? I'm looking. So this guy, the guy that I'm looking for, his name is. I just saw his name. Man, this is not.
It's not Mr. Skill, is it?
No. It's like a Blinsky. Where did it go? All right, here we go. So we're right here. All right, so I'm going to read a couple of sections here. So, a former history student and amateur boxer, Mr. Belitsky, also the head of the extremist Ukrainian group called the Social National Assembly. The historic mission of our nation in this critical moment is to lead the white races of the world in a final crusade for their survival, he wrote in a recent commentary. A crusade against the Semite-led Untermenschen.
Oh, good word choice, guys.
Yeah. The battalion itself is founded on right-wing views. Now, mind you, these are not right-wing views. These are authoritarian, tyrannical views. You can call them right-wing all you want, but like right-wing in the American sense is a little bit different than right-wing in Europe and Asia. The commander said in Urzuv, and no Nazi convictions could exclude a recruit. So the most important thing is being a good fighter and a good brother so that we can trust each other. That's normal for all military. Interestingly, many of the men in the battalion are Russians from eastern Ukraine who wear masks because they fear their relatives in rebel-controlled areas could be persecuted for their identities if revealed. Phantom, I guess a guy named Phantom said he was such a Russian, but that he was opposed to Moscow supporting terrorists in his homeland. I just want you to think of that rhetoric for a second, because who are they calling terrorists in the United States right now?
Us.
And parents.
Yeah.
So like just
you speak out to the government of the school board and you're going to jail.
So just keep that in mind. Like when the propaganda is super thick.
It's heavy.
It's heavy. These people, like this guy who goes by call sign Phantom, he probably doesn't get information from more than one or two sources, and he probably believes in his heart that these ethnic Russians are terrorists because he's been conditioned to think so.
Oh, that's education for you right there.
Yep. And so he says, I volunteered, and all I demanded was a gun and the possibility to defend my country. Ah, you good little slave. When asked about his Nazi sympathies, he said, after the First World War, Germany was a total mess and Hitler rebuilt it. He built houses, he built roads, he put in telephone lines and created jobs. I respect that.
And they're missing out on some parts.
Then, homosexuality is a mental illness, and the scale of the Holocaust is a big question. So he's questioning. All right, so isn't our media the one saying like people can't question the Holocaust?
Yeah.
So this person right here questions the Holocaust, calls all gays mentally ill, and just a paragraph above was saying that they want to kill all Jews.
The Taliban would love this guy.
These are the same people that we in the last month we've sent. What was it? 750 million 1 week.
Oh,
like 2 weeks later,
coming.
2 weeks later we sent 800 million. 2 weeks later, or a week later from that, we sent another 800
this week
million.
we've authorized 800 million.
There's so many taxpayer dollars are being sent to what we know are Nazis that these are not okay. These are not good people. Now, mind you, they have every right to defend their country, but I don't think that's really what's happening. That's just the version we're being told. But you do you believe what you want.
Now, what could a bunch of Nazis with a bunch of Stinger missiles and javelins do?
Yeah.
Once the war's over. Oh, we didn't account for all those things that are missing now. Oops.
Yeah, so this is...
it's going to bite us in the ass.
There's got to be... I thought there was more that I could pull up. I wanted to pull up more, but I don't want to drag on trying to find the articles. We got so held up trying to... I made that little thing with Peter Griffin before we did the show, and it held us up a little bit later.
Nailed it.
I focused on that, but I hope you enjoyed the Peter Griffin thing with the little Twitter symbol. That's really all I did was add that. But it's no secret. These are known Nazis. It's documented in the New York Times. It's documented in the Telegraph. It's documented in many other sources. These are just the big ones that deny it now. And so it's important that we bring it up.
So where's the Joy Behar's calling it out right now, right? They always say, oh, we're Nazis over here. Nope, there's real ones doing bad things.
Yeah, and I mean, why aren't we talking about it? And why are we sending our dollars to fund it? And first of all,
we're not talking about it because we're arming it.
And even if they weren't Nazis, why are we sending our money?
Yeah.
We don't have it.
We don't.
It's like, I understand the economy. I understand the policy of giving other countries money so that you own them because they're in debt to you. But that doesn't work when you don't really have money. Like, Ukraine will be in debt to us, but we're still in debt to, the IMF, and we're still in debt to China. It's
Japan.
Like, we got nothing. Like, it's all they're really doing is making all the countries in debt to each other. Nobody really has a fiscal policy that can succeed, and everything collapses, and maybe that's by design.
Hey, and then we'll have nothing and be finally happy.
Yes, and we'll eat bugs.
And lentils.
Yes. I found the New York Times article. Let me pull this up. So this is the New York Times article. Once again, also archived. And
what's the year on this one again, Alex?
This is also in 2014. And you're noticing that these are all old. These are all old articles, because if you look into these articles today, they deny it or they downplay the Nazi ties and the Nazi sympathies of these militias, because they don't. It's not that they don't know. It's that they're blatantly lying to you, because they know you won't be happy about sending your dollars to support Nazis. I mean, there are people still alive that lived during World War II. We're not even a whole generation removed from actual Nazis.
Concentration camp survivors still.
And here we are sending money to people that believe in Nazis, that idolize Nazis, that have statues and portraits and, songs and chants dedicated to Nazi sympathizers during that time, like Stepan Bandera, who killed, I don't know how many Jews and Eastern Russians or Eastern Ukrainians, but, on the Eastern Front of Ukraine.
Oh, I would love to hear the argument of, was it Joseph Mengele was just misunderstood in his scientific processes from their point of view.
Yeah, well.
Monsters.
So I haven't really gone into this one. Let me... I'm just going to try to see if I can find one quote. It's usually good if there's a quote. All right, so I thought this one was good, but all right, so this is in 2014. It says, the government in Kiev is, quote, calling Putin's bluff, said Ole Voloshin, a former Ukrainian diplomat, who said political leaders dismissed Mr. Putin's moves as psychological pressure. If we pause, it would show Putin that any time he puts troops on the border, we will stop. So the reason for this is Putin responded to other influences at the time, just like he did in this year, to Western influences, civil unrest within Ukraine, and Putin put troops on the border of Ukraine. And also because of the killing and genocide that was happening in the Donbass region, in Donetsk and Luhansk and other areas, Putin put troops there because Ukraine was killing these people. And
he gave them tons of guns and means to defend themselves.
And so the Ukrainian government at this point said they're calling Putin's bluff, and they're not going to stop. They're not going to pause their operations of trying to kill everyone in eastern Ukraine, because if they did that every time Putin lined the border, then that's all Putin would have to do. Every time he put troops there, he would know that they would stop. So they're trying to. I don't know how you can try to outplay you can't. It's weird, because when you're going to get decimated by a country, you typically don't. They're not really bluffing. They're just trying not to murder you.
Yeah, right.
They're trying not to wipe you off the earth.
Exactly.
So it's like they're saying Putin was bluffing, but really it's like Putin doesn't want to kill you. He doesn't want to kill that country because they get food and resources from there, and they run a lot of their gas through there. Mm-hmm. That's really the only reason. I'm sure he doesn't give a shit about anyone in Kiev. I really don't think he does. And if you look at Lviv might as well be the white supremacist capital of the world. I mean, go look into it. You'll find articles. I mean, if you look through Google, if you look through dates that are further back in time, like if you just went to Google or DuckDuckGo right now and you typed in Nazis in Ukraine and you didn't filter your search at all, it would be like, oh, right-wing conspiracy theorists saying Nazis in Ukraine. But if you curtail your search, if you curate it down to removing recent years and bring it to like 2019 and older, suddenly there's so many friggin' Nazis in Ukraine. It's all of a sudden they showed up, but then they disappeared in 2019, 2020.
Well, the media made them disappear. They're still there, active.
Oh, 100%. I'm just saying.
Doing bad things.
Let's see. Ukraine was given just that option on Saturday when separatist leader Alexander
Good luck.
Zakharchenko offered what appeared to be an unconditional ceasefire to prevent a large-scale humanitarian catastrophe. So you see that Russia's trying to stop a humanitarian catastrophe. Now, I know that it's hard to say what's true, what's false, but this is them. They're asking for the ceasefire. They want to stop this from becoming just a massive culling of human beings. On Saturday night, they asked for it, and a senior advisor to Ukraine's Minister of Interior said Ukraine would not halt its offensive, and that offensive would be on eastern Ukraine, the Donbass region. As Ukraine continued its all-out assault, the international maneuvering over Ukraine's fate continued. Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, spoke by telephone with Secretary of State John Kerry. What a
We'll get to him shortly.
Leader. And called for urgent measures to prevent an impending humanitarian catastrophe. The statement seemed to increase worries in the West that Russia might use Ukrainian offensives as a convenient reason to send in troops. What reason? What more reason does someone need? If we had American-loving former Americans in, like, let's say there was a portion of Canada that we gave to Canada, but there were still plenty of people that were ethnic Americans living there, and I mean plenty, like the entire cities. If Canada started killing them,
that'd be a problem.
Do you think that we would just be like, that's cool, we didn't really care about them, we hate them anyway, that's why we gave them to you, we hate those people? Like, no, you would respond. So,
yeah.
So John Kerry's, I don't know. I think they want this war. They've been trying for a while.
Well, they want a bigger war now.
Yeah, so the statement seemed to increase worries in the West that Russia might use the Ukrainian offensive as a convenient reason to send in troops, which it says are on exercises near the border. Now, it's interesting because those exercises near the border were happening in 2014. They've been happening since, and they were happening this year. And then they hyped up all the narrative about it this year. And now it's really happening. But it's because, once again, Ukraine started increasing their actions as well. And I think that, and you couple that with the influence that the West has taken over Ukraine. I think Putin was just like, I'm tired of this. I'm do something about it. As a peacekeeping mission or to deliver humanitarian aid to the areas under siege, Mr. Kerry cautioned Russia against intervening on the pretext of providing aid. Statements issued by the White House said that President Obama had spoken with the Prime Minister David Cameron of Britain and the Chancellor Angela Merkel, I hate that bitch, of Germany, and that they all agreed that any Russian intervention, even under purported humanitarian auspices, without Ukrainian government agreement, would violate international. Do you think Ukraine is going to agree
to let you come in? Yeah, no kidding.
Russia, why don't you come attack our militia? We know we've been killing your people. You kill a couple, we'll kill a couple.
You drop your supplies off and leave.
Yeah.
So dumb.
And that way, the West won't care. I don't know. The whole thing is really messed up. But the one takeaway that I want anyone to get out of this is that they don't want you to know the truth because they don't want to lose your support. They want to keep pushing the subject so that they gain your support. The whole point is it's like any other time leading up to a war, they're drumming up support. They're building enthusiasm so that when they say we need to put boots on the ground, you're like, yeah.
Alex, weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Weapons of mass destruction. We need to put boots on the ground. We need to sacrifice our sons and daughters for somebody else's problems that they've been causing.
These don't affect us.
These aren't even unprovoked problems. Ukraine has been provoking. They've been poking the bear.
Literally, good analogy.
Literally. And so, we've been doing it too, though. I mean, I think we've had more of a part in this than Ukraine did, actually.
Dude, we were waiting for this to start dumping. It just gives the missile makers more shit to sell because our two little conflicts are over now in Iraq and Afghanistan.
No, the Ukrainian, I just saw this one. The Ukrainian flag yard sign next to my BLM sign isn't helping.
You're not trying hard enough.
No.
Your virtue signaling sucks.
Well, I guess, you know what's funny, though, is the two sentiments do fit together well. The Ukrainian flag and the BLM flag, they work together actually pretty well, because if you look at the militias in Ukraine, and they're Nazis, they're tyrannical, they're authoritarian, and if you look at the fist on the BLM flag, it's essentially the red salute, which is the communist tyrannical fist, and you just punched
Power.
Falcon punch. But yeah, I mean, it's a fascist symbol. All these things, it's like, I swear they're doing it on purpose. That you can't tie in these things and claim that they're good and that they're here for freedom and fighting against oppression, when all they really represent is oppression via authoritarians and tyrannical regimes, throughout history. So that's my take on it. I hope that this was educational enough with me trying to go through, the New York Times article, the Telegraph article, and Truth Out. Obviously, there are videos, but I'm not going to show them. The last time I put any of these videos up, even the ones that didn't show skulls blown open and like lifeless, soulless bodies on the ground because they tried to take selfies next to a tank and got shot by a tank.
I want to pull security. Good to go.
Yeah. Even though I didn't show that on the last one, they still removed it because of, sensitive material.
Alex, are you ready?
For what?
To put on your swimsuit and go to the deep end?
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So we're gonna do a deep dive here. We're gonna try to tie this all together pretty nicely. I got to tell you, this topic is really. It's hard to get into for two reasons. One, there's a lot to it, and two, you're almost guaranteed to get shadow banned for talking about it. So, Rosemont, Seneca.
Who?
Alex,
I checked Wikipedia. I didn't see a Rosemont, Seneca.
You know what? Why don't we? I'm going to try to pull up Rosemont, Seneca.
I mean, if it's not on Wikipedia, it can't be real, right?
No. Well, let's see. Rosemont, Seneca. Oh wow, they already got. They don't even have a.
They're trying to get rid of it.
I want to find the Wikipedia here.
It only took me to Hunter Biden's page.
That's what they changed it to.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, weird. It literally just says Hunter Biden's page.
Just, boom. That's what it was.
So if you try to type in Rosemont, Seneca, it is a consultant group that was under Hunter Biden and Christopher Hines, and there's some other partners that we're going to get into in a second, and they are tied to a lot of these corrupt dealings with Hunter Biden, with the Bidens, and most of it kind of is embodied in Ukraine, especially because of current events. That's the hot button topic, but also in China, and there's also a lot of weird things with oligarchs and wives and mayors and stuff in Russia. Money. Follow the money every time. It's there. You can't even find a Wikipedia page anymore about it, but it used to be there. What's this? Wikipedia talk? Let's see if this opens something.
Nope.
What does it say? 10%. All right, so somebody made this recently, and this is good.
It got in
10% for the big guy was not paid, so this page was deleted by the deep state. Hunter didn't get his crack either. No crack, no wiki page, apparently.
Whoever did this is a hero.
Oh my God. This page was deleted because the company is not notable outside of its founders.
Yeah.
All the important information about the company can be found here. What's this? Robert Hunter Biden.
Yep.
And here, Christopher Hines.
Of the Heinz Food Company, Kraft Heinz.
Whoever made this, good on you, man. Good on you.
Get the tip of the hat right there.
Yeah. So Christopher Hines is the stepson of John Kerry, heir to the Heinz ketchup throne. And obviously, Hunter Biden, your favorite cheese-smoking politician's son, silver spoon kid that can't figure out his way through life.
And the board joined the board of Burisma in 2014.
Yeah, so Rosemont, Seneca the claim to fame that everyone wants to know about and that everyone talks about is they partnered with, or through Rosemont Seneca, Hunter Biden he got on the board of Burisma. Burisma was the energy company in Ukraine that at one point was under the control of Igor Kolomoisky. Remember that name? Also with Rosemont Seneca, or at least also partners with Hunter Biden, was a guy by the name of Devin Archer, and he joined the board of Burisma. Christopher Hines seemed to be the only smart one in the group, or smart enough anyway, and tried to distance himself from this. And he didn't do a great job, but he didn't go on the board. So apparently, 2 out of the 3 were completely idiotic, and Christopher Hines was like, "You guys you gotta separate yourself from this corruption." So Igor Kolomoisky owns Burisma at this time.
Do we have those notes?
Well, I don't know if I can show them on the screen. Well, let me see if I can show this on the screen. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Come on, technology.
All right. So this is... All right. These are just some notes that I wrote down. We were getting to the point where we wanted to put together kind of a mind map, and it was just so much, and we're not even done, but we were already running so late that we just said, whatever, we're going to wing it from here, right?
Yep.
So if we look at Ukraine, the connections in Ukraine, the corrupt connections, right off the top, you have Igor Kolomoisky, the billionaire oligarch, right? Underneath him, working on the board of Burisma, you have Hunter Biden. The same goes for Devin Archer. Now, Hunter Biden, is Joe Biden's son. That goes without saying, really. You don't need any further explanation. You've heard about his laptop. You've heard about his problems. Devin Archer, his partner, was busted for fraud, fraud against Native Americans, some sort of securities fraud in 2018.
Shocking.
And then he also received $3.5 million from a Moscow mayor's wife, and that was payment for $200 million of money being laundered. He was also indicted for tens of thousands of dollars in prostitution and human trafficking, and a human trafficking ring
in Eastern Europe,
which is likely Ukraine. And him and Hunter, because they are foreign agents, because they're not citizens of that country, they didn't register, and that's against the law. So literally, if they had just registered, they wouldn't even have been indicted, because that's how screwed up and backwards that part of the world is.
Yep.
Then Christopher Hines, John Kerry's stepson, not really involved with Burisma, but his name is tied to it, even though he didn't join the board. And then Joseph Coffer Black, who is a CIA agent, and he is from the time of Bill Clinton and George Bush. So he's involved with the Clintons and the Bushes. So remember that. Now, if you go down and you move to another layer of Ukraine, we have Privat Bank.
Who owns that?
Igor Kolomoisky owned Privat Bank. At one point, he lost controlling power, but he still had some. Igor Kolomoisky. The reason why Igor Kolomoisky and Privat Bank is important is because Hillary Clinton, Victoria Nuland, and Christine Lagarde were important people with the IMF making the decision to fund Ukraine, and they sent all this money to Ukraine's national bank. That money got distributed to Privat Bank and then disappeared into the fog.
Well, it's what we talked about, I think, one of our first episodes, is how they move that political money out into the international shell corporations. He's got Igor Kolomoisky, like, if we remember, he's got hundreds and hundreds of companies in the United States. And once that money gets there, you can't track it anymore.
Yeah, it just kind of goes and disappears into the mist. And then we have another one. There's a man named Robert Powell. He is the husband of a Democrat in Florida by the name of Debbie Mucarsel-Powell. And Robert was paid over $700,000. This is a typo there. $700,000
Put the big K.
from Kolomoisky, and they don't say why.
Nope.
And
when you tried to find Kolomoisky's numbers of who he donated to, were you able to find anything?
No, so I've been trying to go down these rabbit holes, and it's just impossible.
What you were telling me earlier, the committee that Debbie was on, she pushed the Russian the impeachment.
Oh, Debbie Powell, or Mucarsel Powell, the Democrat rep that is married to the guy who took all this money from Kolomoisky. She was involved in both of the impeachment campaigns against Trump.
The Steele dossier and then the quid pro quo.
Yeah. So and it's kind of funny because she's involved in that. Hillary Clinton's involved in that. And Hillary Clinton was involved in the Russian hoax. Who else was involved in the Russian hoax, in the Steele dossier?
Oh, God.
It's whatever. But moving on. Then you have in Ukraine, before the regime change that happened around the 2014 timeframe, George Soros, and this is a well-known thing, you don't have to dig that far to get it. George Soros funded they called it the Orange Revolution. So, he created civil unrest, destabilized the region, and then boom, things happen. They get to change the regime.
Yeah, they had a little coup.
Yeah, and the Clinton Foundation received $8.6 million from Viktor Pinchuk, from his foundation in Kiev. And Viktor Pinchuk is a billionaire oligarch, also from Ukraine.
Yeah, he made his money in, was it pipes?
Mm-hmm.
Pipe builder. Yeah.
Then, interestingly enough, in Ukraine again, we have a company called Viscoil, and then they were obtained or acquired by NRG Labs. And Paul Pelosi Jr., that's
Nancy's
right.
boy.
Nancy's boy. He was on the board, or he was high up with Viscoil. And actually, hold on, let me find it. I gotta find it. I sent you that, right?
The shit box?
No, I sent you the video of.
Oh, the creepy video that looks like it's MLM marketing scam.
Come on,
it's got to be in there.
It's not far. I'm not going to drag this too long, but it's got to be in here.
Oh man. Maybe we didn't do it.
No, I definitely sent it.
There it is.
There it is.
There they are. Mom and son. It's a creepy video, especially when the Paul starts talking. Weird.
All right, so no thing. All right, so this is on the national file. Pelosi Jr., oil company employed Russians, influence. Yeah, so this is involving Russians as well. This isn't just Ukrainians. But I want to just scroll. I don't care about any of these people. It's all just people selling influence.
There it is.
Peddling influence.
Hey, Paul.
All right.
Show me your shit box.
All right, are you guys ready? I know you all love Nancy Pelosi, so here you go.
The best way to predict the future is to create it yourself. When President Obama became president of the United States, he elevated science to a higher place in our national priorities. It is science, 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 and science. Breaking a crippling addiction to oil. They are developing desirable, efficient cars that get more than 100 miles per gallon. My son Paul, who is here with me, tells me that that is par for the course and not to be overwhelmed by that prospect that will be considered the normal.
I'd kill for 100.
We're having a very exciting day here in Washington, D.C. A lot of focus on innovation and technology to help solve a lot of the world's energy crisis. Both oil spills, which we'll be participating in, cars and efficiency, which is represented today, and space and different inventions using technology from space to make human conditions better here. My name is Paul Pelosi. Of course, I'm on the board of Viscoil Oil. And Viscoil's here today to talk about accelerating the future. It's about using cars in a more efficient manner. It's about utilizing natural resources, whether it be electricity or gas or fossil fuels, in a more efficient way. And Viscoil Oil is a part of that solution. We're also going to take place in the next X Prize competition. This X Prize rewarded cars.
All right, I can't watch anymore.
Isn't it awkward?
So
It's the worst beat footage they could have shown with it.
Yeah, and-
we're going to participate in oil spills.
and Joe Obama. Now, mind you, everyone needs to know something. The name of this company's product that's going to revolutionize the energy industry, it's the shit box.
SH box.
Literally the SH dash box. The shit box. They literally, you can't name it that way and not know it's a joke. It has to be a joke on their end too.
It's a real product that if you go into Amazon and you type up Visc oil or whatever their energy box is, and if you read the reviews, it doesn't do anything. You plug it into an outlet, and what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to take the force away from the electricity and save you money, but you're not billed on the force of electricity. You're billed on the consumption of it, how much you're using. So it does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's
a wall ornament you plug into a fucking outlet.
I literally thought, but before you found it, I thought it was going to be some sort of like home composting box.
No.
That's just an actual shit box that generates some sort of heat and like exothermic reaction that gives you energy.
Like better compost.
And honestly, that would sound more believable than the shit that it really is.
Yeah, you plug it. It's a fucking Glade plug-in that doesn't do a goddamn thing.
Yeah. Plug in your shit box. I mean, box.
Box.
And it won't do anything for it. Won't do for you.
Yeah. Shh.
Just shh. We don't talk about it. That's just one more thing.
Visc oil.
Hold on. Let me pull up. I'm gonna pull this up again. I want to
Visc oil.
Visc oil. All right. So Paul Pelosi, and with Visc oil, that's connected to Sergei Sorokin. He's the Russian oligarch.
Russian, yeah.
And then they are connected through a business partner with John Ellis, who is George and Jeb Bush's cousin. So now you got the Bushes involved again. Now, mind you, earlier you saw the CIA agent Joseph Black, who worked under the Bushes, and now he's working with another tie. Now you've got the Bush's name brought up again through their cousin, involved with working with a Russian oligarch. And then the other one, and this is where things start to get really weird, and we haven't dug in much deeper, so I can't promise how much information we'll find for the next time we talk about any of these subjects. But Ukraine and Metabiota. And Metabiota is the medical consulting funding company or funding consultant that Hunter Biden worked with, and some. I don't know his name. He's
it's not
Wolf. Last name's Wolf. Was the guy who was the founder. But he's got his own problems. And Igor Kolomoisky is allegedly tied to this. I haven't been able to prove it. But what you can prove is that Metabiota has ties to the Wuhan lab.
Let me stop you there.
So
you'll never guess what year they set up shop in Wuhan.
What year?
2014.
2014.
Again.
So the Wuhan lab. Now, mind you, the Wuhan lab, the funding that went and got moved over to the Wuhan lab, that started around 2013, 2014 anyway, because that's when it got deemed illegal in the United States, or at least it couldn't receive taxpayer funding in the United States. So what did they do? They offshored it, so out of sight, out of mind, and then they used taxpayer money to do the same thing that was illegal to do here.
Yeah, it says Metabiota set up shop in 2014 in Wuhan, and they were looking for evidence of retrovirus and paramoxovirus infections of multiple bat species in China, and that was 5 years before the great wool over everyone's eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, and then to point out, Metabiota. Their whole business model is to track pandemics and epidemics in the world, and they've been studying in Africa and Laos. And in April of 2019, the Metabiota epidemic tracker went online, and that allows you to go around and click and see what viruses are happening where and what's going on and how to avoid them and whatnot. And it just so happens the greatest global pandemic that's run across the earth in modern age happened 6 months later.
So I want you to take notice here. So this is a filing that you can find. It's but what it is. So the article is evidence for retrovirus and paramoxovirus infection in multiple bat species in China. All right. We look down this list. You see that? Metabiota, which is technically based out of San Francisco, California. And now, mind you, this is the company that Hunter Biden is attached to. EcoHealth Alliance. We didn't even dig into them, but that place is corrupt as shit. If you want to talk about an agency that you should never trust, look into EcoHealth Alliance. I guess we'll do that another day. But the big one, the friggin' bombshell is attached to this same problem here is the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So Metabiota and the Wuhan Institute of Virology, they're just two peas in a pod trying to kill the whole world and make money doing it. Allegedly. Allegedly. I would never say...
Wink, nudge.
Oh, my bad. I didn't even put it on the screen, guys. I do this every friggin' time. Where is it?
There it is.
There it is. So, I mean, the highlighted areas are the ones that make sense. They're the ones that matter. But everything I said still applies. But you see Metabiota, EcoHealth Alliance, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And now this is attached to other important ones that you need to consider, like the parties like Peter Daszak. Peter Daszak, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say he's either in charge of funding release or he's in charge of DARPA's projects that deal with biological research. Do you want to look his name up real quick?
Yeah, I got him right here. So, Peter Daszak is a British zoologist, consultant, and public expert on disease ecology, in particular on zoonosis. So, I don't know what that means. He is the president of EcoHealth Alliance, a private, non-profit, non-governmental organization. So, yeah.
There's more to him that's being said than what's being said there.
Well, this is off the truth machine of Wikipedia, so for what it's worth.
Anyway, and
he's a member of the World Health Organization too.
That's probably why.
Yep.
These are the people. And so I hope that was a quick enough kind of synopsis, because we've tried to go down this rabbit hole before, and it can drag out for a very long time, because
hours.
Until we get to the point where we put together a mind map that really makes this all kind of, to show it on a display, to show you how it all connects, to show you how, you've got Ukraine, or I don't even know, maybe start with one mind map that's based on Kolomoisky, and all the ties.
I think that's a good place to start.
And then one mind map that's connected to
the Bidens
or the Clintons. And do that. And those are things we're going to have to do, because, I mean, let's just be honest. These are the worst people that exist. And if they didn't exist, just randomly, any day, everyone would be happier.
Because what are they trying to do, Alex?
They're trying to dick all of us.
That's right.
I'm watching it now, replay slow-mo. Kevin, we probably will get banned for this one because we literally said every taboo name.
There were so many names that are going to get popped on an algorithm.
I mean, we dropped Kolomoisky, we dropped Clinton, we dropped Biden, we dropped
Wuhan.
Soros. Soros is the big one.
Wuhan.
Literally, I don't know if anyone saw. It was a couple of years ago. Newt Gingrich dropped the name Soros when he was being interviewed on Fox News, and they literally shut down the whole interview. They're like, we don't need to talk about that name. You don't need to say anything. We don't need to say anything about Soros.
Yeah, because you know him better than most of us.
I'm like, Jesus. I mean, just watching that reporter's reaction was like, that's really unhealthy. like, is that fear?
That's not going to drive up public dissent.
Yeah, but I don't know. And I think Kevin, I think you might be right that Joe's not lying when he says he doesn't know his son's business dealings, because of the fact that he doesn't know, where he is at any given moment in his day, and that he shits his pants, and that he calls the Pope an African American baseball player.
I'd like to thank you for inviting me to your college. That was nice.
Yeah. You remember when he was running for president and he went to that I don't know if it was like a rehab or a retirement home, and he announced that he was happy to be there, and he's announced his run for senator.
Good for him.
Yeah, that was good. I wish I had that video.
We're doing good in America.
I tell you what, we've got
Well, we're going to talk about inflation next. It's just gotten worse since we first brought it up 2 months ago.
Yeah,
We got to talk about inflation again.
I'm happy that we had a lot of people that jumped in. I think if we didn't lose our audio at the beginning, we would have kept a lot of you. So I apologize.
We're working on it.
I'm happy that you jumped in at the beginning, and I'll hear from Brian tomorrow. I'm sure. He'll be like, "You idiots,
You morons,
you friggin' idiots." You know what though? Give us a little bit of credit. We don't have any sort of production here. We literally we communicate back and forth about the different topics that we're both researching throughout the week, and send as many links as we can and videos as we can and things that we want to try to make the show good. And then we've got to throw it all together in person in under an hour and try to get all this working. And every time,
and I forced Alex to make a video.
yeah,
with Peter Griffin.
He sent me a Family Guy video like right before we got. So
hey, can you do this?
Yeah, I hope you like that little video of Peter Griffin reading the paper and being like, oh,
Hey, maybe that'll be our thing. We get a little goofy video before every show.
well, that's what we've been trying to do. I mean, we played the little Biden videos; those are fun. And we started with a not so goofy video of Obama admitting to everyone that he's been experimenting on millions and billions of human beings. And he's like, and then some would still refuse to get the vaccine, putting their families in danger. It's like, get the fuck out of here, dude. No one wants it. Anyone who has not received that injection, there's no way you're gonna make them take it.
Nope.
It would end violently if you tried.
You need your fourth. You need your fourth booster.
You need your fifth booster somehow.
Let me stick it in the butt cheek.
There's someone. You know, Obama was bad.
This is a whole new level. Well, this is Obama 2.0.
This, I think, that little clip. So there's a video clip out there somewhere of Obama saying that he would consider running for a third term if he could pull the strings and lead vicariously through somebody else acting as his puppet. Is essentially what he said.
Did you see the reception he got at Joe Biden's White House party?
You mean when nobody cared that Biden was there?
Yeah.
And he walked around
aimlessly.
Yeah.
Like a lost puppy. Hey, Barack, don't forget about me. Show me your friends.
Oh my! Hey,
is there a kid to sniff?
Kevin, will you send me that video of Biden getting off the helicopter and them and the Secret Service trying to point him to the right direction?
There goes the eagle. Yep, he's walking.
Oh my God! He missed his point. He missed his. The eagle has missed.
Somebody
his point.
hold ice cream in front of him.
Oh my God! I want to use that one for something, but hold on. I thought I sent you one more thing. There was one or two things I had sent that I thought were good. Oh, I guess I'll bring this one up, even though it's not a great one.
Yeah, this was 2015.
Our team,
what the? Don't play automatically. That's not how we do this.
That's rude.
All right. This is just a reminder, in case you still believe that Joe Biden did not do the quid pro quo and that he did not blackmail another country. Like the stuff that they said that they accused Trump of doing, all that stuff. So just a reminder, here you go.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was 6 hours. I looked. I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Right, one of your boys, a solid dude. Not someone who's going to do their job.
Yeah.
Criminals.
It's interesting to me how all this kind of goes down, but all right, I got Kevin sent me the video I wanted to show you.
Oh, good.
I like this one. Oh, hold on. Here we go. I love this one.
He's got the weirdest gait, doesn't he?
Oh, wait. This isn't the one.
Kevin did you wrong, dude.
Kevin, that wasn't the one. I meant the one where...
The commentary.
With the commentary. You know, where the guys are like, oh, okay, the Eagles landed. Don't, just you get to your point. You have to mark your point. That one.
No, he went past it.
That's, oh, God. That's the one I wanted. Maybe, God, where was that? But, yeah, that's the one I like. That one. Oh, you don't have to say sorry. You sent me, the fact that you sent me a clip midstream was pretty good.
Pretty clever.
Pretty good. We can do this. We can use this. I'm going to just ask you to send me random funny things and I'll play them here. It'll be great.
But can you send the link in the message box?
Well, he sent it to me on my text, and I sent it to Messenger. But yeah, guys, I mean, I think we've kind of covered the bulk of it tonight. Let's put it plain and simple. If Elon Musk truly does believe in free speech and reinstating the accounts that have been banned and open sourcing the code for Twitter, that's huge.
That's good.
That's a huge change in what has been a very command and control authoritarian social media landscape for the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
And the next thing is, yes, there are, not all of them are, but there are many Nazi militia members in Ukraine, but not just militia members. They're also deeply embedded in the Ukrainian government. In fact, when the civil unrest happened in 2014, when they were kind of patching the government back together, they took the leaders and they took the Nazi militias and they made them part of the government. They're leading like the defense. Man, I wish I had the article up, but they're literally in charge of like the military. So they are one and the same. So when they say Nazi militia, what they really mean is like, this is a battalion we call militia.
Yeah, and we're arming them.
Yeah, so we're sending them javelins, we're sending them, drones, and we're sending them everything else you can think of. Obviously, small arms and anti-tank stuff. So we're arming the Nazis, and I hope. I hope that people will kind of wake up and say, enough is enough. One, stop sending our money away. But two, we don't want, if our money ever does go somewhere, we don't want it going to Nazis.
No, and where's the press, right? Hammering this issue.
Well, there was Gonzalo Lira, and then his life was under threat, and then he got picked up by the SBU. And then there's also Patrick Lancaster, who is on the ground in Mariupol. And there have been threats against his life on TikTok and on Twitter. And it's interesting because as far as I know, those things haven't been pulled down. But so it's okay to threaten anyone outside of the narrative that's not following the mainstream. It's okay to threaten them. But if you ever threaten someone that's like, has a bunch of different pronouns in their bio, like, good luck to you.
Your account's banned.
You are canceled. You are banned. So anyway, there are Nazis there. There's no denying it. The New York Times reported on it. Telegraph reported on it. All the mainstream reported on it before it was inconvenient. And now that it's inconvenient, they don't talk about it. And then the big story tonight is, it's not really Rosemont Seneca. It's what Rosemont Seneca is and what it ties itself to, and the corruption that has just, I mean, we're not even close to done. Mm-hmm. The web is so big. It ties into the Bush presidency, the Clinton presidency, the Obama presidency, the Biden presidency,
the Trump presidency.
It ties into the family members. It ties in, Hillary Clinton. It ties into John Kerry. It ties into John Kerry's son. It ties into the CIA because you're dealing with John Black or Joseph Kofor Black.
Kofor Black, yeah.
It ties into Pelosi. So now you got the speaker and her family.
American royalty, right? The true monarchy of America.
Every direction you look. And allegedly Mitt Romney is attached, but I can't find anything to confirm that, so we didn't really go over it. So I'll just say allegedly Mitt Romney has some sort of ties to all this BS in Ukraine. I guess the moral of the story is...
it's worse than we thought.
It's worse than we thought. And we, the people, are always...
dicked. Do it.
Dicked.
Semper Phallus, everyone.
Semper Phallus. We are out of here. Like, comment, subscribe. Please share. And, that's it. Fuck off.